How are you?
It's good to see your face.
It's good
Kind
to hear
of.
your voice.
Yeah, don't look at my face because you are driving right now.
I am. I
So
am in the
committed.
car.
Yeah. So committed
So
to your
just a quick
sister and my podcast are you
extra.
that you are driving? Yeah.
Yes, just a quick update for everyone. Maggie is in Dallas and has watched this last episode. I was on a plane to Buffalo, New York, and did not watch this episode. So,
Which, yeah.
in in the spirit of maintaining consistency, we decided to power through, and so we will be going through today's episode, and I will be pretty much on the permanent road to Prediction Town the whole way.
Which,
So,
okay, to be fair, two things. One, Amanda, I missed you. I need you
yes,
back. I need you back
clearly.
for the podcast. And also, I don't think you're the only person who didn't watch because we just learned Suits LA is not renewed for a season 2.
Yeah,
So,
should we start with that?
well, unfortunately, yes. I think that it's sad, but also clearly not everyone has been watching, and so maybe people
Right.
are just listening to these recaps, and therefore you being able to live react will help me
Mm.
understand how people are receiving the podcast who don't watch the show.
And who
It's really
knows? Yeah, maybe we can save this thing.
maybe we can. I'm not opposed to being a hero in this scenario.
Yeah,
So,
you usually are.
yeah, it is Mother's Day too, so
Happy
kind
Mother's
of.
Day. I'm sorry I can't be there with.
Well, let's start this thing. Should we clap?
Yeah, let's clap. I'm in the
Don't
car. I'm
clap.
gonna
Keep
do
your
it.
hands. Please don't
One,
clap. Don't
two,
clap.
three. Okay.
Hello and welcome to Only Suits fans. I'm Maggie.
And I'm Kyle, and we're married by the
By
law.
law. And tonight we're interrupting Amanda and my recaps of the original Suits to cover this incredible gift that is Suits LA with her brother, my husband, the one and only Kyle Austin. And today we are recapping season 1 and only, episode 12, Angry Sylvester, which I, Maggie, just watched.
So, how many episodes will there be?
I believe next week is the series finale, the season and series. So 13.
So they really got to tie some stuff up, don't they?
Yeah, there's a lot of loose ends to tie up in the
Yeah,
series
especially
finale.
because we started the whole show with 13 different plot lines.
I know. And I think there's more developing. So
Yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
it's a lot. But I
Well,
did write a
I would
brief.
please tell me because I'm dying to get to the lit up
Okay.
part of this podcast. So
Yes.
let's start with a brief.
Coming off this week's announcement that Suits LA has not been renewed for the next year makes this a bittersweet brief to write. Perhaps if Lewis had shown up earlier in the series, we wouldn't be facing such sorrow. Or maybe if the show spent more time thinking about the future and less time in flashbacks, we'd have a future to look forward to. Whatever the case, the second to last episode of Suits LA ever featured our beloved mudding, Ted's name origins revealed, Rick getting a big smooch, and Leah admitting she's really a hoe, plus Stuart releasing his angry rectum.
Nice. I don't remember who Leah the Hoe is.
Leah is the young associate lawyer who works with Erica.
Oh yeah, the
Has blonde
nerdy.
hair.
Yeah.
Loves screenwriting.
And
All
is a
of that.
hoe apparently. Okay.
Well, that'll make sense if you watch the episode. I'll get to it. I'll explain it.
To be honest, it's a 50-50
If it'll make sense.
that I'll watch the episode.
You don't need to. We're going to recap it right now. And it's not coming
Let's
back,
start
so
from the
they
top.
don't need it for the ratings. All right. Before the credits, it opens and Rick is calling Leah. It's 6 o'clock in the morning, and he's calling her because he really likes this Ezra Bridgers scripts. But of course, Leah is Ezra Bridgers, and originally Rick had said he didn't like the script. Ezra wasn't ready. He shouldn't be using a pen name, which kind of forced her into law, like deciding she didn't want to be a screenwriter. But he thinks it's actually pretty good, and he'd like to meet with Ezra and sign him. The most important thing about the scene is that Leah has sheets that have a little pocket for her phone off to the side.
Whoa.
I think that's important for us to think about because I think it was
I'm
a
not-
really nice little touch.
I'm not sure I understand the visual of that.
Like it's a sheet and it has a little pocket sewn into the
When you
side of the mattress, like a fitted sheet.
Oh, a fitted sheet.
Fitted sheet
Got
with
it.
with
Got
a
it.
pocket. And then the
Not
phone
a
goes
piece
in
of
it.
paper.
No,
Okay, I
it
got
would be really good for like remote controls,
Mm,
you know.
yeah. What else could
Things
you
that
put
would
in
get
there?
lost.
Oh,
Phones.
quick deposition for you. If you did have a secret pocket on the side of your mattress, what would you put in it?
Probably a book because I'm so read. You know, I'm such a reader, an avid reader. What would you
Yeah.
have in it?
Probably gold.
Yeah, just like all your gold you keep in your pockets.
Bullion. Yeah,
All
just
your-
some gold bullion.
your dinar. So meanwhile, Rick is
Yeah,
at his
definitely.
office. Yeah, Rick's at his office. He's been there early. He has a huge stack of scripts that he's supposed to be reading, but then he sees this Bluetooth speaker. So instead of reading his scripts, he decides he's going to dance to Footloose alone in the office. And he's really getting into it. Very talented dancer, I thought. I mean,
Rick.
Amanda would probably have other opinions because she is a dancer.
Well, that's fair, but to be honest with you, if you're dancing to Footloose, you pretty much always look good.
Always. I can't imagine because he's committed, and that's part of it, you know.
Yeah.
And while he's up grinding against the tree, the elevator opens, and I think it's Samantha coming in. And I was like, how interesting, Samantha's wearing a crop top. But it's actually a different brunette because you know they have all of these women who look exactly the same, which probably would have helped with the series if they had some diversity there. It's actually Dylan, who's the actress from earlier in the season, who Rick signed because she wants to talk about what project is next in her career.
She was the like indie queen lady that was like stuck between a Marvel movie and that. Is that right?
Yeah, she really wanted a Marvel movie.
Okay.
But now she wants a Larry McMurtry movie, which is like old Western type movie because she always loved the books growing up. And Rick is like, I'm going to get it for you. I'm going to get you this movie because it's going to be in production soon.
Okay.
Also,
is there still a little not fling, but a little chemistry between those two?
Oh yeah, there's definitely some chemistry. There's definitely some like this could be something.
Got it.
You know, this could be something. Maybe this is who he's going to make Erica jealous with. You know, is what I was thinking.
Mm-hmm.
Then we see Ted, and he is just staring at a photo of him and Ed at the Yankees game. Because it's the anniversary of going to that game, and Eddie just loved that was like his favorite moment of his entire life. And just then the doorbell rings, and it's Samantha who is bringing soft pretzels because it is Yankees game day. Like she remembers that this day was so important to Eddie, so she's brought soft pretzels. It's basically like Eddie's birthday. Eddie was loved so much by her, so much by Ted, and he would be 45 now if he was still alive. So it's just very sweet that she remembered that.
Yeah, I was gonna say she obviously through all the flashbacks we could tell that she had a special relationship with him. But it's cool to see that wasn't just like a touch point in the script. That plays out a little bit, you know?
Yeah, no, it's very sweet. And then we hear our favorite song.
Going back a boogie.
Perfect.
This delay that we're on is just fantastic. And also, just to be clear, it's, 11:30 at night my time. So if I'm a little groggy, my apologies.
It's a little later than normal for us recording, and also normally we don't record with one person in a car, and also we normally record with one person not having watched the show. So this is a very this is a special. This is kind of like a blooper long episode, possibly.
I am honored to be a part. Let's roll.
So after our favorite song, after the credits, Stuart and Lewis are at this place. It's called Calamigos, which is the retreat.
Whoa. Whoa, hold on. It just opens up with them. And how did they meet? How did Stuart and Lewis meet?
They're meeting. They're getting out of their cars, and there's one cart for the baggage, and they're both fighting over it. And they're like, no, it's mine. But they clearly don't know each other. So I thought that it was like Ted was sending Stuart specifically to meet Lewis. No, they both just happen to be going to this anger management retreat. While they're there in the parking lot, Lewis threatens to put his little Lewis in Stuart's face, in which, of course, Stuart thinks that little Lewis is his penis.
Like I did when you said it.
But that's not who little Lewis is. That doesn't make any sense to Lewis. His penis is obviously Angry Sylvester is the name of his penis. The little Lewis is his fist because it's small and it's going to hit you in the face and it's hairy, and it just makes sense that it would be called little Lewis.
Yeah, kind of like his penis.
No, that's Angry Sylvester. I don't know this about you, and I've never named it. What is your penis name?
Pedro.
Pedro the penis.
Yeah.
Huh.
Mm-hmm. What would you name my penis?
That's just so interesting because that's what I would name it. That's what I would.
So we're settled.
So we're settled.
All right. That's why. Yeah, this is why we're such a good couple. We don't really fight over the important stuff. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. It's just when it's the name, it's the name.
It's a name.
So then they both realize that they're there for the hostility management program.
Oh, okay. That's a fancier way to say anger management.
Exactly. In fact, when they're in their first meeting, one of the guys, Peter, is there, and he's like, I don't know why we don't just call this anger management. That makes me so mad. He's been there like 6 weeks. He's pissed.
Well, it's clearly not working.
Yeah, it's clearly not working to call it hostility management. Although I thought that was a nice little rebrand. The guy who greets them, who's like the manager of Calamigos, or the person who takes them under his wing and the group leader, seems very nice, and he's like, oh, here we go, we're gonna do this thing together. But when they're in that group talking, he gets so mad because Stuart and Lewis start to go at each other about like, oh, who has the worst best friend who belittles them, who's also their law partner, right? Like they're both like interrupting each other, trying to compete, and the facilitator just stands up and he's like, I am sickened by your behavior. Which I was like, that's kind of wild that this pretty mild interaction is what's sickening to you as someone who deals with people with outrage. But sure, I'll believe it. He later comes back and he apologizes, and Stuart admits, hey, this is actually not about my friend, partner, enemy, Ted Black. This is actually about a man who was threatening my family, and I feel so alone, and I feel like I'm about to explode. And Lewis says, that makes sense to me, and he takes a moment to be vulnerable. And he says he was running a firm, he had the most beautiful wife and 2 children, but it was never enough. And I know, because I've not finished Suits, so now I know.
I haven't either.
So now we know this spoiler alert, but now he says, like, whenever he's tending to one, he feels like he's letting the other down, and Stuart starts to kind of chuckle, and Lewis is like, why are you laughing at me? And he goes, I'm not laughing at you, I'm relating to you because I understand, and I bet your kids are like 5 and 2, because that's the kind of stuff that I was going through when my kids were 5 and 2. You're probably a wonderful father, which was very sweet.
So this may be the most disappointing part of Suits for me ever, knowing now that Louis Litt will in fact be married with 2 kids. Because
that's disappointing to you?
No, that I know, it's wonderful, good for the guy. What's disappointing is that I'm on season like 8, almost 7. Done, and he's and he and Sheila Saz are just starting to try. So
I know,
truly a spoiler.
I know. Well, but
what a
here's
spoiler.
the other thing. Here's the thing. I've been trying to stay so
Crushed.
clear of spoilers for the show that aired 10 years ago. And I've been trying
Yeah.
so hard. And then here I am watching Suits LA. And won't you know it, they just dropped that bomb on me. You know? But I'm excited. I was elated. It was like
I'm happy.
going
Yeah,
to a
I'm happy for
psychic.
Lewis.
It was like seeing the future. So
Okay.
anyways, after this group, Stuart goes and apologizes to Lewis by the fire, and there's just so many twinkle lights all around. It's clearly a set, like they're clearly not outside. That's how many twinkle lights are in this tree and on the walls behind them. But he wants to know, like, hey, Lewis, like, what made you snap? Because you said someone threatened your family, and that made you snap. And he goes, oh, yeah, a man called Alice a cunt. And Stuart's like, oh, my God, if someone called my daughter a cunt, like, of course, I would also, like, want to hit them with my little Lewis. He goes, well, Alice isn't my daughter. She's my cat. And Stuart's like, what? Like, okay, what? But anyways, Lewis invites Stuart to mud with him. But first, Stuart asks for help naming his penis. And Lewis takes like one look at him and says, Smooth Bob.
Smooth Bob.
Smooth Bob.
I don't know that I would let another man name my penis.
What if someone came up to you and was like, hey, is your penis named Pedro, though?
That's different. I named it, and clearly it identifies as a Pedro. So
that's true.
That's up to me, not to them to decide that.
A guy you just met, too. You know, it's not even like someone who knows you. It's
also, would not ask someone to name it either.
Yeah.
And this leads me to my next deposition of what's your hoo-ha named?
Oh, my hoo-ha is named Felicity. You didn't know that?
No, yeah, I forgot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well. Anyways.
That's great. We can move on.
So then Lewis and Stuart are still talking at this fire pit set. And Lewis tells Stuart about the time that he was mugged at gunpoint, which I have seen.
Which I just saw. I just saw,
right.
Yeah.
And how he went to his old partner first. And so it's really like the similarities between Lewis and Stuart are strong because Stuart also went to his old partner first when he was threatened. And Lewis says, you know what? Before we go mudding, I need to go call my guy, Harvey. And Stuart's like, wait, Harvey? I know him. And Lewis is like, like he gets like so mad because of course he knows Harvey. And it's like, no, your guy and my guy are friends, which is just another piece of this puzzle of what brings them all together. So then the next time we see these two, they are in fact in the mud. And they're mudding outside. The mud looks a little smoother than it does in the New York mudding facility.
Okay.
Lewis has given Stuart a prunie, and the mud is working. And then Lewis tells Stuart about like when he was young, all the popular guys talked about federale friends, like people who have got your back no matter what, like they're your ride or dies. And he says Harvey is one of my federale friends, and I want you to be the other one. So they just have really come together very quickly.
Wait, so time out. So Lewis Litt has asked Stuart to be his ride or die after knowing him for 50 minutes?
Like the first day of hostility management, I would say.
Okay, that does ring true to Lewis's personality, that he overreacts and has a lot of like knee-jerk reaction.
But Stuart also accepts it.
Okay.
Yeah, Stuart's like he's
which is odd because.
Why is it odd?
Stuart, is he's one that you would become a ride or die after 24 hours, but that Stuart seems a little more closed off, a little more less receptive or vulnerable to that. Yeah. So it's just odd to me that I guess he is in such a vulnerable spot that he wants something like that to latch on to for, to feel like family, to feel security, because he's feeling insecure about his family being threatened. So that's interesting.
Yeah, for sure. Also,
I don't want to get into Carl. Yeah.
I've been calling it hostility management. It's hostility mitigation. So it's one more step removed from anger management.
Ugh.
It's hostility
Gross.
mitigation. But yeah, I think Carl's
Right.
definitely, trying to get these two together. Carl.
Yeah, I don't want to step into his mind for too long because I know that's a
because it's a scary
mess.
place.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
But I can see remnants of his. I could see his fingerprints on this.
Oh, for sure. Okay, the next storyline is Erica and Ted. She goes in to tell him that she's about to sign Nicole Kidman. And this
Whoa!
sounds like a huge get, right? Except
Yeah.
for it would mean poaching Nicole Kidman from Samantha, because Samantha
Ooh.
is Nicole Kidman's attorney. And Ted
Ooh.
says this is a bad idea to poach someone from Samantha's firm because they're just now getting along again. But Erica's like, okay, you want me to pass on this and play nice with the firm that screwed us over? There's personal and then there's business. She is 100% not going to listen to him. She's going to try her best to get Nicole Kidman because what a huge flipping get.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well,
I mean, I wonder if Keith Urban comes with it.
Oh, I'm sure, right? Like they've gotta come as a duo. Like our talent management would be the same.
How did those two make it though? You know, when I think about it, Keith Urban and Nicole Kidman, not the two I would have expected to last.
Well, how different is country music from Australia?
I'd say the most.
No. I think Australia is the country music of countries.
Oh, do you?
Yeah.
Maybe I've been looking at this all wrong.
I mean, think about it. It's like the outback. It's hats. It's kangaroos. It's crocodiles. Like it's like a wild place.
What the hell was I thinking about?
I don't know, dude. You were thinking something totally different than me.
No wonder they're a lovely couple.
No wonder, right? No.
So does she sign her? Does she sign her?
Well, let me get to it. So Samantha's waiting in Rick's office, and she confesses that she's like, when I was a kid, I had an auditory processing disorder, and so I actually had to work harder than everyone else, and I'll be damned if someone takes like my hard work. And I just found that Nicole Kidman is in play. Like she's open to hearing other attorneys, and that Erica Rollins is going to try and snatch her up. So she wants to know from Rick how she can beat Erica, and Rick basically tells her, if you want to beat her, you got to make sure she doesn't get in the room with Nicole Kidman, because Erica makes it feel like you're the only person in the room when you're in there with her. So beat her to the punch. Do not let her get to Nicole.
So wait, why is Rick helping Samantha?
Because he works for Samantha.
I know, but he doesn't now.
Yes, he does.
Wait, Rick works for Samantha. Oh yeah, he does. Duh. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
God, this is so confusing without. Yeah, go ahead. Keep going. I'm drunk.
It's hard.
Well, I'm not drunk. I'm driving.
I hope not. Right. Oh my God.
No, it's just confusing.
It's like a metaphor you were using. You were using a simile. A metaphor.
Yes. Oh, that's right.
Okay.
That's right.
So Erica then confronts Ted about warning Samantha ahead of time that she was coming for Nicole. And Ted says, listen, I did something years ago and I still owe her. And Erica's like, well, what the hell, dude? Like, you've told me to put my professional life over my personal life over and over and over again. And then here you go and you just blow up this work, right? She's so mad.
Yeah.
And rightfully so. But then she goes and sees Ted later, and Ted tells Erica about his brother Eddie for the first time. She had no idea that he even had an older brother named Eddie ever. And he also tells her that he and Samantha used to be in a relationship, which she also had no idea about. And I'm like, how do you not know? Yeah, I'm like, okay, so what? Like, that feels so important and such a big part of it. But I guess, like, you know people on a professional level, not a personal level. So there has to be a time when you do find out this news. That time for Erica just happens to be right now. And so he kind of tells her about how he became so obsessed with this case that it ended up killing his relationship with Samantha and also literally killing his brother. And Erica understands because Samantha remembered his brother and was so sweet to him and had come over to honor Yankees Day. And she's like, okay, so I get it. You had just had that conversation and you were kind of prioritizing the personal in the situation. And then she's like, you know what? That reminds me of someone else who just came, and the universe is really telling me to prioritize the personal. And she has this little, like, aha moment, which is another storyline that I will now get into.
Please.
Okay, wait. Yeah. First, yeah. Okay. Going back. So Rick goes to see the studio lot to see Melissa Johnson, who is the producer for this McMurtry feature. And Melissa's like, okay, I'm not. He's like, you need to cast Dylan as the lead. And she goes, okay, yeah, I'm just going to throw out every single instinct I have and listen to you, Rick. No, she's never going to get a part on this as long as I am the producer on the film. She's very against Dylan. She's like, not going to happen, which is not good because Rick has kind of promised that, you know. Ugh. But he hasn't given up, so he's back in the office, and Dylan goes to see him, and she's like, I can tell you're sugarcoating this, but he breaks the news that she can audition for the part, but she's probably not going to get it, that Melissa really has something against her. But he invites her to eat. He just had food ordered in. They can eat in the conference room while they figure out their next steps. And while they're in this conference room talking, Dylan talks about like their childhood and how she got into theater because her parents were always fighting. So theater was kind of basically this after school daycare for her. And she's like, you know, I played Oliver Twist. And I'm not an orphan boy. So I can definitely play in a Western, even though I've never been someone who plays that type of role before. And Rick's
is that why
totally.
Is that why they
totally good?
Is that why they don't want? They don't want her is because she just is too stereotypically not that person.
Yeah, she just like doesn't seem to fit the role. Like she's never done anything like this, and it would be too big of a risk. But I was like, gosh, Oliver Twist, like isn't that a play that every kid is in? Were you in Oliver?
I don't know, probably.
It's like, yeah, everyone plays an orphan kid. That's the role that like kids play.
Yeah, I may not have been Oliver, but I definitely remember being an orphan.
Yes, definitely. It's like, yeah, that's the easiest thing for kids to pretend to be.
Like a boxcar kid or something.
Yeah, exactly. Well, anyways, Rick got her cupcakes to celebrate. He actually totally knew that she was going to stay and they were going to have this moment, and it's very sweet, and you can feel like it's pretty flirty. You're like, okay, something is going to happen here, you know? So then Ted answers the phone from Rick because Rick is calling to be like, oh, hey, I know that you tipped off Nicole Kidman. I know you tipped Samantha off to that. And I kind of like this idea of us working together. And also, don't you represent Sean Baker, who is directing this film, this Western film? And Ted's like, yeah, so you need something from me. And he goes, I do. I need to get Dylan Pryor in this movie. And I need the director to offer her a spot. And so Ted agrees, and they go together to see Melissa at the studio lot, and they basically bulldoze Dylan Pryor into the movie. Ted says that if the movie producer does not let Sean Baker have Dylan in the movie, then he will walk. He will leave, and then she'll be out of a job, and she'll be out of a director. So Melissa's like, fine, sounds good. And they just walk off the studio lot, and when they're walking off the lot, Rick and Ted have a very like Mike and Harvey banter because Rick is wearing sneakers with his suit, but Ted is wearing suspenders, and it feels very like old school, new school as they're walking out. And it's nice to see them working together because I guess they have this history of doing well together.
Suspenders?
Yeah, he wears a lot of suspenders. Ted does.
I know. I don't get that. Suspenders is for fat people who can't keep their pants up.
Or people who like to think with their thumbs something.
See, now that's me. I'm not super fat, but I am a thumb thinker.
You're a thumb thinker. You know, where are you going to put your thumbs? In your pockets, but you need them closer to the chest. You know,
yeah, it helps you think better.
Exactly.
Okay, all right. I've been overruled again.
You get it. And think about Stu from the original Suits, you know?
Stu?
He was. Stu.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
he was a dog.
He wore a lot of stupenders. We then see Dylan. She's in the lobby of the law firm talking to Rick, and she basically knocked her audition out of the park with the director, and she's come to tell him. But she says, but we do have a problem, because the person she wants to celebrate with is Rick. And then they full mouth kiss.
What?
Like that.
Dylan and Rick?
Dylan and Rick. It's been building up, right? But he says, I can't do this. And he walks away. Where he walking to? You know, where's he going?
The second stall on the left.
What?
He's going to relieve himself in the second stall on the left.
No.
Sorry.
No, he's walking to. I mean, we don't know, but my
You-
prediction
well,
is he's going to see Erica.
Well, I'm just saying, based off of the way you're describing the scene, it sounds like he needed, after this full mouth kiss you described, that he needed to go take care of business.
Okay, tell Pedro to stop making predictions over here. Okay, Pedro needs to stop. All right. Okay. Next storyline is Leah. Right. So Leah has gotten this call from Rick that he wants to sign her, but her is Ezra, and she's in the copy room talking to Rosalind about her. I don't know, Rosalind. We hardly ever see Rosalind, but that's, I think, her name. So she's talking to her about her bonus compensation.
I don't even know who that is.
That's the secretary of the firm. She's like
Ted's secretary?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, but she also kind of makes
dark hair.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, she had that kind of confrontation with Leah in the beginning of the season, right?
Yeah, like
decide what you want. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So Leah's talking to her about her bonus, and she goes, "Listen, it was pretty good, but then I found out what Henderson's was, and my compensation is not the same." And Rosalind says, "Listen, don't say anything to Erica. Just let this light a fire under you." But Leah's like, "I already have a fire lit under me, right? Like, I just got a call, but that's not what I want to be doing. Like, I want to be a lawyer, and I want to be doing this. And I am pissed that I'm not getting paid fairly," which is, I think, a fair point. And also, Rosalind is like, "Oh, he shouldn't have told you what he made," which I understand, but I also think that's pretty shitty when you're going to pay people significantly different bonuses for similar work to not let them talk about it.
Well, you can't let people talk about their bonus.
I know, but I think that's not really, that's just the way for the man to keep the thumb down on you, you know?
No, that's because you don't want people to know. You don't want people to know what you make. I don't think. I mean, this sounds like pay inequity to the highest form, but no matter if she got paid more than him, you don't want people talking about your bonuses.
No, it's true. No, I get that. But also, you know, I'm glad she found out, because otherwise she would have been like very happy with a mediocre bonus, you know?
God, I didn't mean to get so passionate about that.
I know, I didn't know you were so. It's because you and your HR and your sister with your HR. Look at us, we do payroll, and I'm just like, oh well, I think that people should all get paid. So Leah then calls Rick to tell him that Ezra is not looking for representation, and Rick assumes this is because Leah has gotten around their non-compete or something and has signed Ezra for herself. And she confesses, "No, I am Ezra Bridgers, but I do not want to be a writer, and this is me believing and fighting for myself. I no longer want to be a screenwriter. I want to be an attorney," which is not the direction I thought that would go. Then we see, basically she goes and she confronts Erica about her bonus, and she says, "Listen, I kept a ton of clients and I've done so much work, and I just want you to see me as my partner. But this is still about," she thinks, her choosing her cat who was dying over Erica in this one moment. And then Leah just says, "Listen, like, I turned down Rick's offer to represent me." And Erica says, "Well, go be a writer." But Leah's like, "No, I do not want to be a writer. I just want to be heard," right? And I thought that was a really powerful moment too. Leah just wants a seat at the table and to be fairly compensated, and not to be continually punished for being different or having other ideas.
I like it. I like her.
I like her too. She's one of my favorite characters, actually.
Yeah. She's probably the most relatable.
Yeah, I think that she's a good little actor too, and I like her and I like Amanda. I think are my two favorite characters on the series. Anyways, this moment with Leah is the aha moment, and the universe first moment telling Erica to prioritize the personal. So she tells Ted that they need to make space for Leah in the office and bring her closer, even though Ted is super annoyed by Leah. And he goes and he gives her an office. So Leah has this whole new office and she's so excited. She's like, am I dreaming? She's doing like a little monologue. You know, she's super quirky. And then she makes this face because she's like, oh, the windows are nicer in the main part of the firm. Like, she's got these small windows. And Ted's like, I will literally take this office away. She goes, no, I love it. She gives him a big hug. And all I could think of was when she made that face, how you were like, hey, when you see the house that I bought for the first time, can you just watch your face and not make any faces? Remember?
Yeah, I remember asking you to pretend like no matter what you liked it because the kids would be there, and while while you're doing that, I was like, what does she really think? Just watching the whole time, yeah.
But then I was like, you know what I'm going to do instead of making sure I don't make faces? I'm going to send my kids off with my aunt and uncle when I see the house for the first time. Because I didn't trust myself not to make a face. But I didn't make a face because you did a great job picking a house.
Well,
fabulous job. Fabulous job.
Well, next time we record, we'll be in the same room in Erie and not in the car from Buffalo.
Well, I'm sorry, Kyle, to admit this to you or tell you this, but I'm going back to recording with your sister after this episode.
What?
It's been really fun, but I think that it's fun for me to have something to do with Amanda. You know, something that we do together.
Yeah.
The Suits podcast, watch the show, and
I know my role. I know,
but it's always fun to bring you in.
I know my role, and it is immediate need for substitute.
That's right. That's it. There's only one other storyline in this.
There's another storyline?
Of course. And it's a flashback, of course.
Oh, God,
this
okay.
Is when Ted is taking Eddie to go to his dad's sentencing hearing. So it's New York City, 2010. And Eddie is there to testify on behalf of his dad. Basically give a statement, you know, oh, let my dad go or don't sentence him too harshly. And Ted is there because he doesn't want Eddie to be taken advantage of. He's like, you're manipulating him like you always do because this is a sob story for you. But you're ashamed of him. And she goes, he's like, you literally named him Edward after you and wanted him to go by Teddy, just like you. But then you were so ashamed that when you had a second son, me, you named me Theodore so that I could be Teddy instead. You made me steal his name, and I know you did that. He doesn't know that, but I know you did that. Which I was like, oh my gosh, Dr. Whitney, when she was a sub on this podcast when we were in Paris, she was like, how come they both are like nicknames for Edward? And I was like, what? I had no idea that Teddy was a nickname for Edward until she said that. But then look at this. In this flashback, it turns out it is. And also, that was the whole point. Like, his dad was trying to replace Eddie with Teddy. Which is so fucked up.
That is so messed up. And I had no idea that was a nickname for Edward either. I thought Ted would go for Theodore,
Yeah, but it also goes for Ed. So then Eddie is giving his statement saying his dad is sorry, and even though they're grown-ups, Ed and Ted will both need a father. And his dad then stands up and admits, like, I have not always been the best father, but when I get out, I want to be the father that my sons deserve. And the judge takes all of this into account and sentences him to 3 years. Instead of what could have been more. So Eddie and Ted are talking about their dad's sentence, and Ted's like, honestly, it's pretty lenient. And Eddie says then his dad comes up and he's like, I like when we're all together because it reminds me of the day that we all went to the Yankees game. Like, Eddie loved this day that he got to be with his dad and his brother so much. It's like his favorite day in the world. So Ted asks for some time alone with his dad, and then his dad asks him for a second chance. And Ted's like, I've given you so many chances. There's no way I believe it. But his dad says, listen, facing prison has changed me, and I admit that I was ashamed of Eddie, because that's the man that my father taught me how to be. And you are different from me, and I hope you can teach me how to be more like you, because I don't want to be like my dad. Like, I resented him, I hated him, and I just want to take you both of my boys out for dinner one time before I get locked up.
And does this come across as sincere?
It's hard to know what's sincere and what's not with his dad, because we don't really know him very well, and he seems like a real dick, but I bought it. I was buying it.
Okay, so prediction, they go out to dinner and that's when Eddie dies?
Yeah, I think so. Oh, I forgot to just say the Leah's a hoe thing. Can I quick?
Oh, yeah. Yeah,
okay.
Insert away.
So she's got her office set up immediately, like same day, and it's super cute. Erica stops by just to say, hey, what do you mean, like, when you said you're sick of feeling uncomfortable in your own skin? And Leah says, for one, like, I didn't use my name on these scripts that Rick read and liked, and I should have just used my name. But also, Leah Power is not even my real name. When I turned 18, I changed my name to fit in, and I named myself after Stephanie Powers from Heart to Heart. And her real last name is Ho. She's Leah Ho. And Erica's like, ooh, that's tough from middle school. And she goes, yeah, it was.
So that's So Leah Ho.
Use a Ho, Leah Ho.
Leah's a...
The only other thing that I thought
Well, you got me.
I got you on that. You had to watch it.
You tricked me.
I tricked you.
The depot, the brief got me from the beginning. I was waiting for this hoedown, and instead she's just a hoe.
I tricked you. That's a little. Yeah. That's a little called a little like it keeps you hooked. You know.
Called a bait and switch.
The only other thing from this story to touch on is that at the very end, so Rosalind's the person who kind of tells Ted, you need to make it right with Erica because you did throw someone under the bus who's a part of your team. So, like, make that right. Yeah. And then at the very end, she's sitting in his office drinking, and she's got her legs crossed. She's kind of like dangling her foot. And he's like,
Erica?
Hey, no, Rosalind.
Oh,
she's like, hey, thank you so much for always looking out for me. And he sits down to like have a drink with her. But it's very like flirty. Like, what is she doing? What is this like? I'm like, there's too many flirts.
And we don't have enough backstory on her to like allow her to flirt with him.
Right. We spent too much time on the backstory for all these flashbacks and not enough time getting to know these characters in the present with like nods to a backstory. That's how I feel. Yeah.
I couldn't agree more. They should cancel this thing.
Well, no. I mean, I have more hot takes that I will share with Amanda next week about.
Whoa, let's get a hot take or two in here.
That's one of them. The flashback.
Okay. The flashbacks killed the season.
I think it was too much, and I love flashbacks. It was too much too soon.
Yeah. I'm gonna try to dive into Carl's head here for a second, but I think that from the beginning, it was just like a diarrhea of exposition. And I don't know why they needed so many people to have such a serious storyline from the beginning. Like, pick a couple, like a plot and a subplot, and let's go from there.
Yeah, I agree. Okay,
well,
you know what? We're talking about the past. Let's talk about the future. And the best place to do that is in a little seaside town I like to call Prediction. Would you come with me to Prediction Town?
I am on the road right now.
Oh, well, I'll hop on the speed train and I'll meet you there. Chugga, 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 chugga,
okay.
Chugga, 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 choo, 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 choo.
All right.
Okay, here I am. Here's mine. You go first, or you want to go first?
Yeah, I'll go first. I predict they get canceled.
Okay, that's fair.
You there?
Yeah, you there?
Okay.
That's a good
one.
That's it.
You take it from here.
Okay. I think that David Bowie is going to do something truly horrendous to Stuart's family, like maybe kidnap his kids or something, because Ted tells him like, oh, don't worry, it's going to be fine. I also think that Rick is going to confess his love for Erica, but it will be too late. She's not ready, even though she's just been having all of these like universe moments about softening her professionalism and leaning into her personal life. I think she's just not ready to do it with Rick. I also think that we will see how Eddie gets killed, even though we know he dies in this restaurant situation. I think that we will see it. And then I also think that Ted is going to kiss Samantha because all of these things are going to come bubbling to the surface.
Well, when do you? I mean, I guess that they didn't know they were canceled until after they wrote all of season 1. So they're not like going to be trying to cram a bunch of stuff into this last episode.
No, it's just going to be a bunch
So
of cliffhangers.
We're going to have. Yeah, I was just saying, we're going to have some cliffhangers. What do you think the big cliffhangers will be? That we'll never, ever figure out.
I think like how things resolve with David Bowie. I think Erica and Rick's relationship. I think Samantha and Ted's relationship. I think we'll have all of this past stuff wrapped up, like the 2010 New York City trial and all of that. I think that will be wrapped up, but I don't think any of the present day things that they've just recently started developing will be wrapped.
Yeah, I mean, that'd be pretty impossible. So, at the end of every season, they have a big like cliffhanger. What do you think the one, assuming that they pick one, will be for the end of season 1? With them thinking that they're going to be renewed for season 2.
Gosh.
I mean, it's like a new storyline. What is it?
I think it's got to be. I mean, I feel like it has to be the relationship, but I think it would be better if it was like the David Bowie stuff. But I think it'll probably be the relationship.
I'm gonna take a wild guess here and say that it's like Louis Litt is coming to the firm, or Harvey, or like somebody to save the show.
People will be so mad. They'll be like, wait, you canceled it and Rick Hoffman is signed on to be in all the rest of the episodes? Like, people will be so bad. That's what people wanted. That's what people wanted.
That's right.
Well,
that's right.
I hope we gave the people what they wanted. And
I'm sure we didn't.
And we can sign off now. Thank you so much for listening or watching on YouTube Live. You can follow us on Instagram, TikTok, YouTube, and you can listen wherever you get your podcasts. Be sure to like, review, and subscribe. And if you don't know how to start your review...
you could start it however you want, because there's only 2 more episodes left.
But we also do all of Suits, so that's something fun. It could be like, Suits LA ended, but my love of only Suits fans continues.
Yeah, that's what I meant. I'm sorry, I'm a dodo today.
You keep driving safely, and if you're listening in the car, you keep driving safely too. Thanks so much. We'll see you next week for the season finale.
Bye.
Bye.